Good afternoon, and you are welcome to our health and wellness series. In the month of June, we've run several episodes and we've focused on entrepreneurship. I hope you caught the very first one. It was with Tunde Odumoso, who opened up a completely interesting world in ICT. We did finish with his interview. We are likely to do a rejoinder. So please stay with us every Saturday, usually at 11. As you can see, today we're starting at 2 because we had a prior program that we needed to take care of. So you're really welcome to our health and wellness series. Like I said, we're talking about entrepreneurship this whole month of July, and we might even spill over into the month and next month. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had the pleasure of having Yemi Ogundeyin, who talked to us about agric and gave us a really interesting overview about the potentials and the possibilities in that sector. He didn't finish, so we're likely to also have him back to drill down on the opportunities. One thing that's instructive about what he said, however, is that retail, the retail end of agric, usually is the easiest and probably risk-less place to start with. Today, we have two young entrepreneurs. We're going to start with the first of the two, and we're going to talk about their experiences, their evolving experiences, because they've started, but they're still in the journey. They've started the sprint, but there's still a lot more to go. So I have the pleasure of introducing to you Damilare Ononuga, who is our first junior entrepreneur on the show this afternoon. Damilare, hi, how you doing?
Hello.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too.
Fantastic. Damilare is going to unfold what we think is a really interesting story. And it's the story that we think will resonate with many other people, many other young people. The statistics in Nigeria are that 90% of fresh graduates will almost invariably not find a blue-collar job. What that essentially means is that they will be unemployed when they enter the job market. An entire 90%. That's amazing. What that also means is that 90% of all the young people who are in universities of any kind need to prepare to be entrepreneurs literally from the get-go. One of the things that we think is really important, which we'll talk about today, is the fact that young people don't even need to wait to leave school before they start their entrepreneurship journey. And so today we're going to talk to two young entrepreneurs who actually started their business, their entrepreneurship adventure while they were still in school. And next week, we should have actually two teenage entrepreneurs who will share their own stories. But I'd like to start, as we always do, by finding out from Damilare, what influenced you, what has influenced you over these years? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Damilare Ononuga, and I'm a motion graphic artist. And I schooled, rather I'm still schooling in UNILAG,
Okay.
University of Lagos, School of First Choice. Yeah, nation's pride.
First choice.
Yeah, our lecturer always put that to our face every time. Okay, so what influenced me, right?
Yeah.
So over the years I joined my church. I joined my church media team. Okay, so that exposed me to a lot of things, a lot of ideas, a lot of jobs I could actually put in for. But I was learning it for free, actually, because it's church.
Right.
Yeah, so I enjoyed myself learning. I kind of dived into coding. I was not able to juggle it because, I don't know, I was not just good with coding. So I kind of moved into design because one of the ways I actually got into design was a church training. So a church training, I went for it, and then I kind of enjoyed it, so I moved into design, and that was how I got into design.
Okay, so I'm curious. You said you didn't like first choice.
Yeah.
That kind of presumes that your dad or your mom had told you, if you don't score X and get it, and you're like, you're going to be in serious trouble. So your mom, your dad, what kind of influences have they been on your choices, your career, and what you're doing right now?
Okay, I was actually trained up by a single mom, so I didn't have a dad. But my mom was kind of she's one educational person because she works in Unilag too. So, and obviously she wants me to be there. So she wants to watch me graduate in Unilag, School of First Choice, and I don't know. I was just basically treading that path too till I found the second choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how has she influenced your design life, if that's the way to put it?
Okay. Basically, my mom actually is a kind of very encouraging kind of person.
Please get on this.
She's a very encouraging kind of person. She's someone that can someone that I can actually do anything in front of her, and then she would, okay, it's a good boy, just continue with it. So she didn't really see graphic design as an hindrance for me in my education. So she kind of supported me everything I wanted to do in graphic design. So that was what pushed me and made me more interested in it.
Okay, so she definitely has your back.
Yeah, she got my back anytime. So for now, even still now, she still got me.
Fine. I mean, for me, I just like to kind of check background. Primary school, secondary school, did they in any way influence, who you've become, where you are right now?
Well, I would say maybe primary school. I really had a lot of interest in computers. Computers were one of the. Right now, computers are quite popular, but then it was very scarce to get a computer. So that time, primary school, we just go to the computer lab and then go and start painting on the screen. And painting, and then we do a lot of presentations PowerPoint presentations. So that was what gave me an idea of what to do with a laptop or what to do with a computer. So I kind of had an idea of what to do with a computer. I kind of had an idea of what to do with a laptop. So getting into graphic design was not a problem for me because I had the background knowledge.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to go to Naomi, who is sitting right beside Damilare, and I'm going to find out if your primary school, your secondary school was the kind that gave you an opportunity to pick up those computer skills that we all need in the 21st century of these days.
Okay, I think that growing up, in secondary school, or rather in primary school, there was exposure to computer. Yeah, it was computer.
That's what it was.
The regular square screen and white body. Yes, so there was exposure to computer, the keyboard, as a topic being taught. And then in secondary school, there was also exposure to computer. Right. And I think these were preparations in the right direction. Secondary school, of course, gradually you had to do registrations, you had to do this, do that, of course. So then you had to submit assignments, do your research, work here and there. So these were proper right exposures in the right direction in terms of the educational sector. And then I think for private schools or private universities, they have more exposure because a whole lot of their courses are online. And so in terms of our exposure to computer or technology,
right?
Yes, I think the educational sector had a hand in it.
Yes, so that's I want to drill back a little bit. Damilare's mom has his back, and she's going to continue to have his back, for as long as she's around. But the issue really is that in terms of influences, particularly from secondary, primary school, what were your influences, particularly with respect to what you do now, so to say, in terms of entrepreneurship?
Oh well, I I really never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I I I grew up with a or parents that encouraged starting out as a career person. Yes, so mom was a banker, and I grew up knowing how to leave the house early in the mornings to go to work. And so, in my mind, growing up, when they asked me, "What do you want to be?" I want to be a banker. I want to be a banker, and that sort of conditioned my thinking. But so, what exposed me to entrepreneurship? I think it had to be the fact that during my university days, my parents encouraged that we took up a skill. The children, they felt it was something, especially in an economy like Nigeria, where you need to have something doing. So during the holidays, we were encouraged to take up a skill. And the mere fact that I went to learn sewing, how to sew, and the mere fact that I could sew was thrilling. And sometime during service year, people just seemed to also be thrilled that I could make something for them. And then that was how entrepreneurship began. So originally,
Fantastic.
I never really wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Fantastic. I think, looking at our unfolding stories, and Damilare has mentioned training available in a church as being, one of the pointers to, becoming who he is today and being able to actually create solutions and value for people. So I'd like to kind of come back to Damilare so we can kind of finish, that part of the story. So tell me, after that first training program in that church, and I know it wasn't this church.
No, I actually wanted to say it was this church.
Okay, I kind of knew it was this church. Okay, so tell me, how have things kind of panned out for you after that training?
Okay, that training took place, and then funny story, I think we're about 10 that started off, and about just 2 graduated the training. So everyone was saying design was hard, though both of us were persistent with what we were doing, and then we continued. Even though we had not gotten it at that time, we just continued. We knew we had not gotten there, but we just had to continue. So we continued, and that's how we actually had today. So we are still continuing it.
Okay, so was that during your university days, or was it before or after?
No, it was during the transition from my secondary school days to my university days.
Okay, so you actually started really early then?
Yeah, I started really early.
So way before secondary school,
you were
already
was into graphic design. I started doing things for people and then doing things for the church.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Naomi, I'm gonna jump over to you. So Damilare started really early. When were you exposed, as it were? I mean, you can just continue the story from skills.
Yeah. So it was during NYC.
Okay.
At the orientation camp, I continued with my interest in fashion designing. So there's this SAID, skill acquisition, that NYC encourages core members to be part of. And so I went there. Learned for the 3 weeks I was on camp, and then after camp I got to know that there was also a SAID secretariat where core members could go to upon leaving the orientation camp. And so I left the orientation camp. I was posted to Ilorin. I discovered the place, the location, and I picked up. I was interested, I wasn't particularly thinking of sewing for people. I was just thrilled that I could sew for myself, and so I went and did something for myself. And then I was staying at the family house then, the Copper's family house, Copper's Lodge. And then when I got back, they saw the piece I made for myself, and they were like, "Oh, I'd like you to make something like this for me." And that was how it began. And of course, we had some other people that could sew in the house. So, but I think what triggered entrepreneurship for me was just the fact that I could do something for myself at that time. I could do something for myself, and the fact that people were willing to pay for the value I could offer. So it was thrilling. It was I don't even know how to explain. I just felt like it was good to own something. So at that point, and then now as core members, it was just as at then it wasn't even like 33,000. Now that they're getting, some people don't even want to pass out because they are getting 33,000. It was just 19,800, and 19,800 could barely keep me together So I had to, and so money was coming from that point too, and it was good.
Okay, so now I'm obviously tempted, and I'm sure not everybody can see from, okay, fantastic, the shot is a much wider shot, to ask, okay, so who made what you're wearing right now?
I did.
Oh, wow.
You designed it, and then you made it.
Design, yeah, I put the materials together,
Okay.
but the design was originally conceived by one ensemble, so I followed these fashion designers on Instagram, see
Okay.
what they have, and do a little remix. Let's put it that way, redesign it, and then come up with mine.
Actually, if it wasn't for the fact that this is somebody else's TV program, I would have asked it to do a twirl. But you see that, I think it's really interesting to see that interest oftentimes buds into the ability to create value, which is what entrepreneurship is really all about. And the fact that you started earlier, before you came in, the statistics in Nigeria are that 90% of everybody who finally manages to leave school won't get a blue-collar job. So, like you said, perhaps wanting to become a banker for many people is a dream, and it will remain a dream for a long time. So it is important to pick up skills, in this case entrepreneurship skills, from the get-go, which is why I'm really happy about Damilare's story, who right from secondary school, the transition between secondary and university, he picked up design skills. So I'd like you to just trace that story a bit further. So you started picking up design school. Even you said that was just the beginning. So what happened? How were the building blocks, put together thereafter?
Okay, I think I won't say any story without including the church, because church actually played a major role in what I was doing. I had people here that really encouraged me, and I think my client base actually started from the church too. So yeah, they really encouraged me well, and then they were willing to offer small amounts, even though it was not what they pay now. But they offer small amounts for what they can offer, for what they get actually.
Right.
So that started probably about 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been doing graphics for
that long.
5 years, yeah.
5 years. That sounds like eternity.
Yeah, it was before in that school. Okay, so I did that, and then I dived in, because definitely we wanted to do a church project, which was something that we usually do. I think it was probably teens project, because I just can't remember right now. So I was to do something for my media team. I was the head at that time, so I was do something for media team, and I was to do a presentation, and I didn't know how to go about the presentation. I kind of that was when I got introduced into motion graphics. So I kind of did the presentation with motion graphics, and I saw, okay, so I can do presentations with motion graphics, and that was how I delved into motion graphics design. Okay. So now I'm a motion graphic designer, and
okay, so yeah. there's design on one hand, there's motion graphics on the second hand.
I prefer to be called a motion graphic design, because that's where I want to actually focus on
right now. I'm going to come back to you, because I think it's important to clearly differentiate the different building blocks and the skills that are required to play in each of those areas. But because we haven't gotten to Naomi's delving into what we know she does right now, I'd like you to kind of just fill us in on how that happened.
Okay, so upon leaving, passing out from NYC, I had to rush down to Lagos, because everybody was, Naomi, you need to get a job, Naomi, you need to get a job. And so I ran down to Lagos. I remember that the next day I had an interview, a job interview to attend. Yeah, so I had to come down to Lagos immediately. I begged all my customers that probably had pieces with me or the other, told them I'm sorry, it's time to leave. And then I picked up, I came to Lagos, started working. While working here in Lagos, I continued to sew. But I had other things on my plate, professional exams, a lot of things, and I had a lot of targets to meet up with. And to be able to meet up with all of those targets, I remember I started working in a bank. I was working in the bank, and I was also sewing.
Okay.
And I had richer customers. Because of course it was a bank. And so I it was quite tasking. It was a lot. Coming back from work, going to the market to source for materials, because some of them don't come in their materials, they want you to source for materials for them. And then sewing overnight, going to deliver, still managing my weekends for my courses, working at the bank. Well, I was juggling it all. I've always been someone that likes to be engaged in a whole lot of things. And so I was juggling it, but at some point I had to step back and plan out better.
Okay.
And so that was how So fashion designing went on hold. I started a master's program and it was quite demanding, so I knew that sewing wouldn't allow me do multitask, and that's how I ventured into footwear business. Got back to the university for my master's program. I was already used to taking a lot of money from work, earning huge salary. And so because of that, the money had dropped because I left work for masters. And so I needed to be earning something substantial too, because I was used to living the life. And so I thought of it. I was thinking of something I could do that would afford me time to read, because I wanted to really read and be the best at what I was going to do. And so I was looking for something that would afford me time to study well and would also fetch money. And so I thought towards footwear. I have relatives that are also into this footwear production business. And so I started out with them. I would collect things from them. I would put pictures out there for people to see, tell them the price, and then when they place the order, I tell my relatives, okay, make this for me. I go and pick it up and then deliver to my customers. So that was how it began. And then when I saw that my client base was fast rising, demand, what people wanted was increasing, I had to expand beyond my relatives. I started sourcing for producers, direct producers, and that's how I ventured into footwear production.
Okay, so I'm going to try and decipher all the different things you've been juggling. Because, so you were making clothes while you were still doing NYC. That was an income stream.
Yeah.
It definitely made you some money.
Yes.
You came to Lagos, you got a job in a bank.
Yeah.
You were still sewing, making money from sewing.
Yeah.
You're doing professional exams on one other hand. And I can't even begin to imagine how you now added footwear to that in the mix.
Okay, so I had to, because I was going for my master's, I stopped work. Yes, and then I stopped cloth making because I felt that I had not expanded on that idea enough. It was time consuming and I needed to juggle a lot of things. So I let it go for the time being. I still sew for family, friends, very close-knit friends, but I don't do that on a commercial basis anymore. But of course, I'm still planning a model around it because I want to be a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
I would still making couture. That was what I used to call it. It's still an ongoing, still rebranding. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I'll still launch out better. But for now, it's making footwear basically. So that's what I do. I'm done with my master's program now. I'm also working, so I'm trying to juggle work and this business. So I am deliberate to ensure that I don't leave it. I nurture it because it's still at the tender stage,
right.
And so it still needs a lot of nurturing.
Okay, so you sound like a very deliberate serial entrepreneur not just in the making, because obviously we've counted two very interesting businesses already that you have run and you're growing and you're expanding. So I'm going to ask both of you a series of questions that basically boil down to what are the critical skills that young people need to pick up in order to begin an entrepreneurship journey. Now, like Damilare, it may not start with that as your end in mind. It may actually just start because you went for a training, which you eventually liked. But as you grow and as you evolve in the entrepreneurship space, you come to realize that there's some skills, they're critical, they're essential, you can't really survive without them. So from your mutual experiences, what would those skills be? Now, for Naomi, who's been a serial entrepreneur, you can actually borrow from making clothes as a business. There are certain skills that are applicable in that space. I think there are likely to be slightly different skills applicable in the footwear. They may be similar and they may be transferable, but I think you'll probably find that there's some critical, very important skills that you must simply have, irrespective of what space you're playing in. I'd like you to just, build those, what you consider to be the most important skills, critical skills for your sector. And then we'll come back to Damilare also, because he also now straddles at least two broad design areas. And I think it's important for those of us who are watching, to be able to pick up what those critical skills really are. And please feel free to take your time and, pieces it, so to say.
Okay, first off, I would say that because this is a program for young entrepreneurs, it's centered around, themed around young entrepreneurs and young people, basically. Yeah. I would like to say that not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And even if you don't end up becoming an entrepreneur, these are skills that have been recognized, just as you mentioned earlier, to be transferable skills. And these transferable skills are skills that I think young people should be keen on acquiring, on learning. And what do I mean by that? I mean, even if you don't end up running a business of your own, if you find yourself in a corporate space or you find yourself working for somebody as an entrepreneur, let me use that word entrepreneur, that's somebody that is working in an organization, these are still skills that will stand you out. These are still skills that will make you recognized. These are still skills that will make you efficient and effective on your job role, whatever job role it is. So these are basically transferable skills, and some of them are resourcefulness, responsibility, teamwork, leadership. And when I say leadership, I mean, I saw a quote somewhere that if you are going to be able to manage money or manage people, you must be able to manage yourself first. And so if you've not learned to lead yourself, to control your time, to motivate yourself in the right direction, to discipline yourself, you won't be able to manage manpower. You won't be able to manage a business. And so I think that these are particularly soft skills, transferable skills that will apply anywhere you find yourself. Okay, so let's drill down to sewing. When I was sewing for people, I learned customer relations. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to be honest and trustworthy. Because people want someone who is trustworthy. People want someone who can connect with them, who understands them. And I learned that it's really, really, really not about just making money. Because if money is what is driving you, you would deliver substandard. You would lose every form of good work ethic. If money is the driving force, you won't think of giving value to people, basically. Value won't be the goal. People would pay you for the value you add. Yes, and that is one thing I learned. And so I ensured that it was really about giving value, contributing value to people. And so that's how it was for me. And same applies to my footwear business. I see that I am able to give value, and that is why people come back to me every now and then. I'm able to retain my customers because I am empathetic. That is the new way of reaching out to people. So on my business, basically, I tell people that I control every other thing, or I do every other thing directly for now, apart from the actual production of the footwear. Although at times I'm at the workshop, I talk to my guys, I tell them, I control what I want. So I think that it's empathy and ability to put myself in the shoes of people that has made me valuable, that has made me someone they always want to come back to. So I don't just want to produce and sell. I want to give you what you want. I want to make you feel good. I want to make you feel better. I want you to wear Makings footwear and be happy. Feel that, oh, yes, you look good, make you feel confident. So I really try to put myself in the shoes of my customers and, customer relations as well. Talking to them, good communication skills. A lot of skills. And just like I said, these are transferable skills that will help you in any role you find yourself.
Okay, you've covered quite a lot of the basics, and I think they're basics. Yeah. But clearly, not every sector and every industry requires, the same set of skills. So, to Damilare,
all right,
I know that in your space there are a set of skills. So, what do you think are the most critical ones?
Yeah, I'm going to talk basically on communication.
Okay.
I think communication is one very, very important skill everybody needs to learn. Every young person needs to learn. In fact, even graphic design, you need to learn its communication skill, because you need to be able to communicate with your clients, number one, and you need to be able to communicate with the audience that you're talking to through your graphic works. So basically, communicating to your clients, number one, because you have to what's the word? You have to be able to reach an agreement with your client in such a way you would not have issues with him, because most times I've heard young graphic designers fight with their clients because they did not just get it right. And clients are going to be clients anytime, any day.
Every day.
Every day. They can be very annoying, they can be very, but then that is what they want.
Right.
You have to blend what they want with what they are. It might not be, some graphic designers say, this is graphics, this design is going to spoil my work. But then you have to keep the client. You have to keep the client at all points. So you have to reach an agreement with the clients. Okay, this is what will make this work. Okay. Let's do this and this. So graphic design is not just your part alone. It's both of you working hand in hand to make the design worthwhile. Okay, so I think I will also talk about service. Service, working with people, not just young designers. Well, they don't like to work with people because most times, probably because people use you, they won't pay you, those kind of. So I think I've gotten to where I am today because I kind of worked with people, even though they didn't pay me so well. But they gave me that exposure that I needed.
Yeah.
And they are still giving me the exposure that I need. So some of the big jobs I've worked for, some of the jobs I've worked for, are because rather I worked with people. I worked with some set of people, some set of big guys in the industry that exposed me to some things that I didn't know originally, and I won't know. No matter how, you can't find it in the book, you can't find it in Photoshop. You can't find it anywhere. You will never know it unless you work with people. So that's one. Those are the two things I just want to talk about.
Okay, so I hear you. Communication is key, and like Naomi says, it's one of those transferable skills that apply irrespective of the industry or the sector that you're in, and whether you're old or young. Those rules apply. But I'd like you to drill down a little bit in terms of the critical skills that are required in the design space specifically, and then also in the motion graphics space, because I think those are skills that are similarly specific to those areas and those sectors.
Okay, so in motion graphics and the design space, I'll still talk about communication.
Yeah.
Because graphic design is all about communicating to people.
Right.
So basically, what we are doing is we are aiding the customer to communicate to the user or the end user of the product. So that's what we are doing. So communication is a very important role in what we are doing. And I'll also talk about the use of the softwares. You need to know how to use the softwares to get what you want. The softwares don't control you, you control the softwares. So you have to find a way to make the software achieve what you want. Okay, and I'll also talk about having to learn and always want to learn. That is very important.
Okay.
Always wanting to learn. I've heard very big people in the industry say they are still learning. And I'm wondering, okay, what are you still learning? You have learned a lot.
Yeah.
And then the truth is actually you keep learning. Even with the softwares, you have been using softwares for 15 years and you still don't know this.
Right.
Because you still have to continue learning. That's the thing. That's basically the thing. basically those skills you really need to learn.
So continuous learning.
Yeah, continuous
It's one
learning.
of those things that are absolutely key.
Yeah, exactly. You can't learn everything at once.
Okay, so I would like both of you to kind of put yourself, I mean, Naomi talked about empathy. I'd like you to put yourself in the shoes of a young teenager. I'm going to have some of them on set next week. And from your experience, I'd like you to just literally say, these are the steps you need to take. And I'm going to borrow from what Damilare said. You need to equip yourself with the skill before you can deliver a service. What are those steps that young people should be taking literally right now in order to position themselves to be able to add value? Because ultimately that is what, whether it's a service or a product, an entrepreneur does. So if you're to give advice, as it were, I would like you to kind of just say to us, this is what we really ought to be looking at doing, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, do you want to start first?
Yeah, I will. So for young people, I would like you to know that you have a whole lot of time right now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you will be in secondary school and some of you will be in university already. I would like you to know that besides academics, you still have a whole lot of time available to yourself, and you must learn to manage that time right. You see, some of us would say, I wish I could go back to that time, you know?
Yeah.
Because it feels like, oh, what was I doing then? You see, even if we're still young people, but these are lessons we learned going through that stage. And these are some of the things I tell my younger sister. I tell people that are younger than I am. You know, I say, volunteer.
Yeah.
Volunteer wherever you see that, oh, there's something that needs to be done.
Right.
Don't feel like, I want to sleep, I want to see movies. I know like I'm ruling out all of those things, but do less of them. You see, do less of seeing movies, do less of whiling away time, do less of gisting with your friends.
Right.
Be a little more deliberate with your life, because you are at the boarding stage, formative stage, where you need to learn certain things. In volunteer, you would learn to work with people. When you intern, some of you will say, oh, I'm still in the university. You can be in the university and go out on internships. It's really not out of place. No, so after your first year, you're home during your holidays, you can tell your parents, oh, mommy, do you know anybody that does this? I want to work there. That only just helps you fine-tune how you see life, your disposition to life, you know, the realities around. It just makes you know what is going on. You know, I was looking at my friend's LinkedIn profile recently, you know, and I was wowed. She's just about my age mate, but I see that she probably had corporate parents right from when she was, even as at A-levels, when she did after A-levels, she went to do her first year. She was volunteering. Now, this doesn't even have to be a work environment. You could volunteer with an NGO. You know, you could join. You know, we have things like ISEC in school. You know, some of you will say, "Oh, I'm not a politics person." If you know that you want to develop your leadership skills, you can go to your departments in school when they want to elect executives who would lead the association. Volunteer, do it. These are areas in your fellowship in school.
Right.
Yes, join the workforce. When you join the workforce, you learn accountability. You learn how to be resourceful. You manage your time. You learn to manage your time. And don't get carried away and say, oh, I was advised to do this. That's why my academics are suffering. No, you have every responsibility. And you must remain top-notch, especially as regards education. You must remain top-notch. Why am I saying this? Because education has given us, my father would say, is a leveler.
Yeah.
You can be the child of somebody who doesn't have so much. And then you can be the child of someone that has so much. It just puts you on the same level. Yes, you may say connection, but trust me, even if your parents don't have so much, if you give your time to study, it develops your thinking, your ability to conceive ideas. I sit and I'm conceiving ideas. I'm because I have groomed myself to be able to analyze a lot of things. Analytics, some people say maths. What does maths have to do? Maths grooms you. Maths makes you, your intellect sharpened, so you can merge a lot of things at once. So you may say, I may not use maths on this job, but my ability to think around a lot of things. Today, I picked up about 25 pieces or more from my producers. And they're going out. They're going out soon. And I control quite a number of producers. By next week, I already have about 16, 20 orders going out. And this is a business I just started some 2 years ago. And 20 is not even a lot to some people who are already doing 80, doing 100. You know? So I'm just saying these things, be deliberate while growing up. Don't let time slip off your hands. Volunteer where you need to. Be amongst people. Be deliberate about your friendship. Be amongst people that you know are going somewhere. You see, this person says, let's go for overnight. Don't join the one that says, let's sleep, let's wait, or let's go partying, or let's go to the club. No, be deliberate, and trust me, you won't regret this. You can have fun while doing all of this too. You know, I'm sure that when he came for the skill acquisition training at church, I'm sure he was having fun, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And yes, please be sensitive about what you like to do. Don't say, oh, because this lady is doing footwear, it must be footwear. No, try to think about it. What comes easy to me? And trust me, you may not get it at once. In fact, life is not always, oh, she knew what she wanted to do. I work as an investment analyst, trust me. But I also have this I'm doing, and I remember having a conversation with Mr. Tunji Adebaki one of these days. I'm sure he doesn't remember, but he was saying, who says you can't do it all? Who says you can't do this? Just learn to manage your time. You can earn money from different streams of income. I'm not the one directly producing this. I'm only helping production, basically.
That's
cool.
Oh, I've said it.
Yes, quite.
She said a lot.
Yeah, so Damilare, you say a bit more.
Okay, so I'll just simply say, I'd like you to place your value on actually the value they are going to give to people, not the money. Because I think a lot of young guys nowadays, they like the money more and not the value. Yeah, I think the value actually is the most important thing. It's what will train you, what will make you be what you actually want to be. That value is very important. Okay, so she said investing your time in a lot of things. I'll say get busy, basically, because when I started off, I didn't know I was going to actually make this a profession or actually even do this. I just wanted to maybe solve a problem for church. I think there was just one person that was doing graphic design at that time for church, and then the person was not constant. So I just wanted to solve the problem. So I volunteered into the training. With the training, and then I started solving the issue I had, and then people started liking what I was doing, and then that was how I became a graphic designer, so to speak.
Okay, I'm in the position of a young person. What steps, literally, if you can tell me, 4 steps, 5 steps, should I take to become a graphic designer, a motion graphics designer, someone who works in the digital space? Because clearly, as many of us realize, in these times, there's massive demand and there's massive space. And of course, that means that there are massive opportunities. So how do I, in quotes, begin to take deliberate, calculated steps to harness the opportunities that are clearly upon us in these times?
Okay, I would say go for training.
Go for training.
Training, yeah.
Training.
Yeah. Not training, but then the first step to learn anything is actually learning that stuff. First step to perfecting something is learning the stuff. So you're going to have to learn. First thing is to learn the skill, and then learn the soft skill, the software, and then learn the real skill, which is the communication, the talking to clients, client base, those things. You need to learn that too, as you're learning the skill, not just the skill. And you have to learn the soft skill behind that.
Right.
Okay, so first thing is to learn the skill, and then second thing is to advance yourself. You should not stay where you are. the idea of you being a graphic design should not just end as just being the same way you started off. You can't. I always try to update my software every year and try to update my computer every year. I started it last 3 years, and then I've tried to keep consistent with that. So I update my software and also update my computer so that I do not lag or I do not suffer at any point. Because softwares bring new softwares, bring new ideas, new ways of thinking, just different things.
Okay,
basically.
Cool. So I'm going to drill down into what you guys do right now and into a little bit more detail. Every business has its own model, and obviously, like you said, they're different, and you don't always have to get into shoes. So I like you to, and it leads me to my next question. How do you get customers? But understanding the business and being able, as it were, to say this is what I do, this is how it works, is something I'd like you to kind of just say a little bit about. So we have some really nice looking shoes right here in our very before, to put it that way. So how do you make, how do you market, how do you manage? Make, market, manage.
Okay. Making, coincidentally, the name of my brand is Makings.
No kidding.
And that came from my son Imola Makinde.
Okay.
I prayed about it. I seriously prayed about it because I was looking for a brand name, and the Lord told me that from His creative ability, He has given me.
Right.
And so He told me in the beginning, God made the heavens and the earth, and so He came, He made. And just coincidentally again, Makings, Ola Makinde. So you just seem to sync. I remember I was working at ISL that evening, and it just came, and I'm like, oh really? Makings, you see, and so it's stuck. So making for the footwear, I know it's quite important that if you want to venture into this business and for the long run, if you want to be in it for it, because some people just do side hustle. So it initially started, to be honest, as a side hustle. Let me say that was intense to have something on the side. But if you want to keep doing this in the long run, you have to learn the actual production. And learning the actual production doesn't mean you would be doing it yourself. It just means that you know all of the tricks around it. So when you are demanding for something from whoever is working for you, you're not demanding as a novice. So they don't boo-boo you and tell you, what do you know? I have eyes for details. I see possibilities. I know what can happen. And I have stayed around them. I've seen them produce before. So I know when they don't do things right. Or when. So these are the things I'm leveraging on for now. And it doesn't rule out the fact that I still have a lot of exposure to do. The business is 2 years. Yes, I've been running it this way. But I really hope that it grows into something tangible. I used to tell somebody that Nike is a competitor. It's a competitor. And so, that's around making it. Then you said managing. Oh, managing. Marketing. Wow, managing. I think the previous business I was into taught me something around managing. But now my management has expanded because I have to manage my producers, I have to manage my customers, and manage myself. So I'm doing a lot of management around this. I manage my delivery, logistics, marketing, advertising, communication, taking of orders, customer relations, making orders. I manage all of that except direct production. So I'm doing a lot around management. Okay, so for direct skills around managing, yes, I don't want to overemphasize the fact that you have to learn to, of course, basic accounting, how to keep your books if you're starting out as a young person, so that you know that a business is profitable. Or not. Because I've been a commercial student, I take this for granted, but it's critical. But in my head, I already know my profit, but I keep my books so that I don't model things up. So you have to learn that. You also need to learn to be disciplined, and I cannot overemphasize it, because if you're like me that has other aspirations, you know, this is not just all I do. I have a lot of things to do. I'm a daughter, soon to be wife, business owner, employee, that means I have to do a lot of things. So you must be disciplined enough, and first and foremost, you're a Christian. So you must manage your life in such a way that salvation is not compromised, your growth in Christ is not compromised, and all of these roles too, you efficiently deliver on them.
Right.
So there's a whole lot around managing, and it takes you to be deliberate about your time. So you have 24 hours in the day. How and what do you need to do? Structure your time. Wake up in the morning. These are things I need to do today. These are things I need to do tomorrow. Okay, around that, then marketing. Wow, technology has done a whole lot, and we cannot stop saying it. Technology, technology, technology. I don't know whether I would be in this business but for technology. Technology has put me out there. WhatsApp is my office, basically. So I put I scout for designs online, check out different designs that I've not done. I put it out there. I tell people you can do this in any material, any color. On WhatsApp, I joined a group, a community of readers. And that's why I say you cannot undermine development, mind development. Currently, we're reading a book, This Is It by Seth Godin, and I happened to even be the book reviewer last week. Talked a lot around marketing, what you should do. You see, join communities like that. They really help you. They make you see the global space. We've read on, what's this maths abroad in America that everybody buys from. It's a Walmart. We've read on. I've read about this shoe dog, Nike. You know, so those communities just expose you. They make you think global. They make you know that there's a whole lot outside there. So technology has really been it for me. I've done a lot around technology. I have an Instagram page. I put my designs out there. Things that I directly produce, I put them on Instagram because I have a wider audience there. But on Instagram, I source for designs and I tell people, okay, I can make this for you. And then that's
okay. So I know that there are lots of people at home who are watching from wherever it is they're watching from, since technology allows us to watch from everywhere. So if you do have questions or you have comments, contributions that you think will make this pot that we're cooking really, really, really sweet, please hit us up on the numbers that are scrolling on your screens right now. We can't wait to take your comments and your contributions. So, Damilare, different space.
Exactly.
What would you say? Managing, marketing. I mean, for you, you're not making, so to say, but you are making actually. So, the full three steps. How do I do that?
All right. So, managing. Yeah. What's the first one?
Well, making would be the first one.
All right. So, making. I think I've talked about that. You need to understand people you're making for, people you're working with, and people you are going to work, or people you are going to see the design.
Right.
That's for making, but I think I'm going to talk about the managing.
Right.
I met people, like she said, join communities. I met two very interesting people while growing up as a young graphic designers, which we formed a company together, and so it's Touch Media. So that's what we do. So basically, what we do now is to make videos.
All right.
So we make videos for people. We try as much as possible to make adverts for people. We cover events. That's what we do.
Okay.
So those guys inspired me a lot to. I control them, kind of, because sometimes they can be. Creatively, you know this kind of. So basically, to manage people like that, you have to be a patient person.
Right.
Basically, you have to have God. Right. You can't manage people without having to know the person that actually made those people. So you have to definitely have God, and then I think lastly you have to have good communication skills. Basically, that's for managing people, and so that's for selling out.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, we currently are doing. We are currently open for business, so to speak. Currently open for business. If you have to have a private photo shoots or private video recording, so we make videos, we make adverts basically. So that's for making for us.
Okay, I know you sent us something that tells us pretty much everything your company does, and if you're interested in the stuff that Damilare and his company does, it's interesting. Young people have companies from 2-3 years ago. I mean, they started their own first companies already. But if you're interested in the series of services that his company offers, it will be scrolling on your screen right now. Contact details are in there. And you should get in touch with him. I think they'll do a really good job, and they'll do it at competitive prices. I'm saying that because I think I should talk to him about the project that I'm working on right now myself. So I'm going to kind of come back to Naomi because she needs to tell us what her Instagram handle is. And I'm thinking I should try on a pair of shoes that I see here. So if these shoes don't already belong to somebody, then perhaps they should belong to me. But they actually look really, really professional, really, really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really encouraged. I mean, I could sell this online too because I also believe that there are multiple ways to make money because they really look good. So how do I buy? If I wanted to buy right now?
If you are interested, you can reach me on Instagram, makings_footwear.
Mm-hmm.
You can also reach me on my number, WhatsApp. That's like the major market for me.
Okay.
That's where people reach me.
You want to give me what your number is? So I'll write it down. I'll write it down right away.
081.
Okay, 081.
69.
69.
41.
41.
83.
83.
17.
Got it.
So if you have designs, you can send in your designs. If you don't have designs, we can send you designs and also guide you on choosing what is good for you. Then we basically take your footwear size, ask if you have what fits in slim, normal, or wide feet, and then we work with that. And if you doubt our competence as to understanding your shoe size, you just tell me, okay, take a picture of your leg and send it, and we're good to go. And yes, because we produce on pre-order basis for now, but still growing. It's a growing business. We're hoping to get enough capital to establish on a larger scale, probably open a workshop of our own, employ people of our own, and be more established. But in the meantime, this is how I work. I work with quite a number of producers that I feel, oh, this is good at this is good at that. So I say, okay, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, and then collect it and deliver to people and make my profit on it, the margin. But of course, I'm quite thorough as to what I want to see. So we've had, because it's pre-order, I won't say that we've been 100% perfect over time. We've had times where it probably just didn't fit right, and so we had to pick it up and redo it or amend it. But I think that percentage has fast dropped because the more you do something, the better you become. So the learning curve has really improved. Yes, so yes, there's guarantee that you order, we deliver.
Okay, so I'm particular about branding, right? So how have you gone about that? May I take a look at? I'm eyeing those pair of shoes. Okay. I hope they're my size. Right, but I'm very particular about branding. Okay. So how do you ensure that the stuff you make is branded?
I have nylons, branded nylons, and I also have. So my shoes would be branded by the next production. I like I say, I try out these guys. I want to see if they produce quality.
Right.
So I have tried some of these people, and I know that they can deliver on shoes. I wasn't big on shoes before. I was basically doing sandals and slippers for male and female. But now I've seen that I can enter the footwear shoe market, basically. So I'm doing shoes right now, and of course they would be branded here. Right. Just like this. This is branded as it is. This is the Makings logo. Yes, and then I have branded nylons that they go out with.
Okay, because this looks really comfortable. I mean, even just the feel kind of lets you in on the quality that I think has gone into producing it.
Yeah.
So if you missed her number, it's 0816 941 8317. And if you're probably like me, you might be looking for a pair of shoes like this. So we're going to kind of close out with Damilare. So I really do want to shoot a video. These days, there are events happening all over the place. Not as many as before, but I mean, there's still events. So how do I hit you up?
Oh, you can hit us up through our Instagram page.
Okay.
At Touch Media, Touch Photos. So we take orders from there.
Okay.
So Touch Photos at Touch Photos. That's all. And then you can also hit us through our contact details. I think that's been displayed.
Right.
So you can hit me up. We will talk. Would discuss on how we want the production to be run.
Right.
Okay. So because I believe that if you want to achieve something, you don't just give it out to people. You actually explain it to them on how you want it to be, so that you can give a quality and achievable product. So you don't just leave it to, we try as much as possible to have a good communication skill, a communication level with our clients. So we get what they want, exactly what they want, because clients is all what we.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we do.
That's key.
That's
it's actually
important.
particularly key in your line of work.
Because if your client doesn't want something, he doesn't want it.
Right.
You can't do anything about it.
I mean, I totally agree with you. And I think on that note, if we don't have any questions or comments, I'd like you to, I mean, both of you, to give us your parting comments, so to say. Because amazingly, we've run through 1 hour like a hot knife through butter.
Okay, I would like to say that we are pilgrims on a journey, and we are going somewhere.
Right.
And of course, we know as Christians that we're going to heaven. We're going to reign with Christ.
Right.
It's eternal life. That's the goal. So, while on the journey, you have a purpose to fulfill. While on earth, there's something you have to do. And everything, whatever it may be, you find yourself doing, must contribute to glorifying God.
Right.
Must contribute to ensuring that the kingdom of God, His will is done here on earth. People are drawn to the kingdom. So I'm deliberate about it. I tell the Lord, I tell the Holy Spirit that while I run and even when I make my decisions, I know, yes, we're in a secular world, they would say, but I know that there are deep-seated things. These are called fruits of the Spirit that should be in me as a Christian, and that I must ensure that the world sees it and are drawn, as many as come to me. And it forms the foundation of everything I do. I deliver this because I have a reputation to protect. I am God's child.
Right.
I show forth His creativity in me by doing this. But the foundation of it is I know that I'm good. This is not the end of it. So I can't live my life just around it and live my life. Oh, it's just my business. It's just about business. No, it's really not just about business. There's something more. There's something that drives me. I do this for something. This is not the goal, basically. So I think as young people, and yes, I would like to talk as an entrepreneur now, as not a business person. Yeah, keep an open mind. I don't know if everybody in life will end up being an entrepreneur.
Right.
Yes, and I do not underestimate you if you're not an entrepreneur. Yes. But even business owners will say, be an entrepreneur in your space. Right. Even on that phone, everyone says it now. It seems to be a new word.
Intrapreneur. That's the
Entrepreneur,
word. Yeah.
Yes. Try to come up with creative thinking even on your role. Come up with ideas. So they want people who. So just ensure you develop yourself in that line. Even if you would end up just working in a company with an organization all your life, ensure that you can contribute maximally and the glory of God can be seen through you.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Damilare to say a couple of things before I spring a surprise on Naomi. I like surprises.
All right. So I think you should have a model. And you should also have somebody you look up to. Okay. So for me, I want to talk about who I met not visually, but through God's word.
Right.
So I met this guy named Bezalel. So Bezalel was a creative guy.
Right.
So, but before Bezalel actually was Bezalel that we know, he was a skilled man, quite was a skilled man, but God called him. But then I noticed that he was first a skilled man before God called him to work on an important project. So first of all, you have to prepare yourself to be what God wants to use you for. So preparation first, and I know God uses everybody. God has a purpose for you. God will use you. So first of all, I think you should prepare yourself for anything, just anything. Anything can come anywhere. So just have yourself prepared. So that's it for me.
Okay, thank you very much. I've enjoyed your useful insights. So I'm going to spring a surprise on Naomi. Naomi is multi-skilled. She's juggling lots of balls. And I heard her once on a Thursday. So I said to her before she came on today that you have to sing. And I'm going to let her sing any song she likes.
Oh, she can sing?
And amongst the many skills that she has.
Wow.
And you see, it kind of details into what you said. Whatever it is, literally, you find your hands, or in her case, your voice. then do it well. So we're going to close today's episode of our health and wellness series with a song sung by Naomi. Please be back with us next week. We're going to talk to a couple of teenage entrepreneurs. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Their stories are totally off the hook. You won't believe it. So make sure you catch us next week, Saturday. We expect to be back here with you at 11 a.m. in the morning, but don't leave until you listen to Naomi sing. So we're going to close with a song from her. Any song of her choice.
Okay, this wasn't planned.
And Caleb is going to help her play the keyboard. Caleb, you're going to help Naomi play the keyboard. So thank you very much. So over to you, Naomi.
Okay, just as he said it, a song dropped on my mind and it just resonates what my life is really about. And it's the same message. Everything you see here was deposited by God.
Right.
If you want to get the best of yourself, you need to go to the source. He's the source. And you must keep connecting to the source for you to blossom, for you to be beautiful, for you to be fruitful. All of my help comes from God, by Juanita Bynum. Okay.
Oh.
Is the keyboard is ready. I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He said, He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. The Lord that keepeth thee, He does not slumber nor sleep. For the Lord is my keeper, the Lord is my shade upon thy right hand, upon thy right hand. So the sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. He shall preserve your soul, even forevermore. Oh, my help Oh Lord, my help cometh from the Lord. My help, my help, my help. Oh Lord, my help cometh from the Lord.
Awesome. That was brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed that time.
Yeah.
In a world where its culture grabs our wrist without permission and leads us to a cage of bars surrounded by voices so loud we can't even hear ourselves, instructing us on how to live and what to do till we are trapped, smitten and tormented by its multiple opinions and ways. But in the midst of these troubles, we have been given a divine mirror and word with which we are furnished, trained and equipped. Join the Foursquare Gospel Church Teens Ministry to celebrate our Teens Connect 2020 with a team, Furnished.
Lifted from the book 2 Timothy 3:16-17.
From Monday the 20th of July till the Sunday 26th of July for the grand finale, featuring Reverend Sam Aboyeji, the General Overseer Foursquare Gospel Church in Nigeria,
Brother Waleoke, National Teens Minister,
and Sister Dolake Lawal, the National Teens President, and other anointed minister of God. With the mirror of God's word, we are